Howdy doody everybody, welcome back to another stream. The last one of the season. Don't worry, there's no more FPL. There's no more anything. We can all just sit back, relax and not worry about our captains, our vice captains. We played the right chip, got the right player in, if we transferred someone else getting points. all that is gone for another 3 weeks. I bet we can't wait for those 3 weeks. They're going to feel so quick, and then before you know it, new season, new FPL. What's the point? What's the point? Nothing to play for. I'm angry now. I've wound myself up, but welcome everyone. Just the three of us again. It's myself, it's Nim, and it's Brett. So I'll pass over to Nim now because otherwise I'll be rambling for a good 5 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did a pretty good job there. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a long and very interesting season, let's say. I can't believe we're actually on our final stream of the season. It's definitely been, full of highs and lots of lows. Jay unfortunately couldn't make it again this evening. Still some issues with his tech and his working. So unfortunately he couldn't join us tonight. So you are, as Kurt says, just stuck with the three of us, I'm afraid. But on that note, we'll have a quick recap of how we got on in game week 37 before moving on to game week 38 questions. So Brett, how did you get on in game week 37, buddy?
Okay. Hey guys, how we doing? Yeah, not bad actually. Most times I'm sounding pretty depressed, and at this point now, like a good game week doesn't really matter anyway.
You need to get that small violin out, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm sort of so far away from where I want to be anyway, that even if I had a spectacular game week, it'd still be a disaster season. This one was like a respectable week. It wasn't spectacular, but I got a score of 71, with no hits. So it was good. A green arrow. I'm just inside the top 1 million now. If I can just not finish outside the million at this point, I'd just take it,
Yeah.
And it's only taken 37 game weeks, but I actually made a transfer that worked. Maybe the first time this season. So I transferred out Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That was probably my favorite moment of the season. I think that and triple captain Salah are like the only good things I've done this season. So yeah, selling DCL, I brought in Chris Wood and he scored 1 against Norwich. Granted, against 9 men, 7 points isn't great. Could have scored more maybe, but I brought him in and he scored. That was quite a new feeling.
It's a
for
win.
Me this season.
It's a win, Brett. Take it, buddy. Take it.
Yeah, it's it's not often that I bring a player in and they actually score this season. I've had so many players that blank and the player that I sell scores. But yeah, 12 points from Doherty and 13 from Trent. Greenwood, finally he scored the first goal for me since owning him. I swapped for Rashford, and since then Greenwood's been blanking and Rashford's been on form, so that was finally nice to get a goal from him. The game week could have been a lot better had Ings not missed the penalty. I've had bad luck with Ings all season, really. I've missed all his really big hauls. And we know Ings is like Mr. 3 bonus points. He always gets 3 bonus points. And I don't think I've had a 3 bonus points from him once yet this season. It's always like maybe a 7-pointer or a blank. And this week it was a 4 points. It could have been 13 had he scored the penalty. Just bad luck. That, what can you do? I did bench Phil Foden, which was quite painful because I'd obviously played him for 3 blanks since buying him.
Same.
And the 1 week that I bench him, he scores.
Feel you.
However, I brought in Chris Wood, who I basically had Foden in my team and Calvert-Lewin benched. But then because I brought in Chris Wood, I benched Foden and they only got 1 point difference between them. So even though it's annoying that Foden got the 8 points, it only changed 1 point really for my final score. So it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So 71, I'm just inside the top 1 million. I got a green arrow about 100k. Disaster season, but half decent game week,
Yeah. Kurt, you used a chip, didn't you? So how did you get on, buddy?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I can't complain about the week. 76 points is good. But it's more.
Same as me.
It's more when you get a high total and you know that there was such a massive chance to get an even bigger points total. That's what kicks a bit more. I mean, Man United flopping against West Ham, they weirdly seemed disinterested, which is strange considering going out of the FA Cup, you're battling to secure a top 4. Though I still think they'll get top 4. You're thinking if you're going to go for top 4, you've got to go for it, secure it, because one bad game, last game of the season, Leicester and Chelsea win, they've lost out on Champions League football. And to think Man United's season, the way they've played, finishing third, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. So I'm surprised that they sort of, watching back through the highlights, just seemed like, oh, well, we got the draw. We'll just plod through to the next game. Granted, I think looking at the game after that, away to Leicester, I'm shocked, really. I'm shocked that they haven't gone for it. But 76 points.
You'd think the last thing they would have wanted is to leave it down away to Leicester in like a 6-pointer, you know?
Yeah, and it is massive. If they lose against Leicester, Chelsea granted playing Wolves. If they lose to Leicester, that's it, that's curtains. And no Champions League, you risk losing some of your big players. You risk not getting the bigger players. I just think you could have pressed on against what. Granted, they've done all right in the last few weeks, West Ham, but let's bear no let's bear no resolution to the fact that they are actually still pants. They're still a very, very fragile team that can be beaten. They're just in a good run of form. So that one didn't go well. And then just the triple captain Danny Ings. It's still 4 points. I still could have got a 1 point. My vice captain was Fernandes. I could have got 1 to 3. So I'm looking at the bright side. But as well as that, he scores the penalty. He gets 3 bonus points in a 2-0 win. He potentially goes on to score a hat-trick. You're looking at least 9 point difference, which in triple captain terms is 27. So it's just one of those things.
Well, mate, I would be devastated by that.
If my score was lower, I would be on the floor. I would be like, no, I'm not streaming tonight. Someone else can do it. I'm too busy crying in the bathtub. But the fact that I got 76 points, everything else went well. I brought Eric Peters in, who got 12 points. I kept Bolly and Richie playing, Ederson playing. The only players who didn't get returns in my starting 11 was Fernandes and Rashford both on 1. Everyone else got at least 5. Richie, Martial, Jimenez all on 5. Ederson, Bolly, De Bruyne on 6. And you got Peters on 12, Ings on 12, granted triple captain, Sterling 17. So everything went well. If it would have been one of those game weeks where you're thinking, we missed a couple of sitters, he got 2 points, and you're looking at a score thinking, I've got 36, I would be upset. But that's the only thing. But with those 27 as well, could have maybe pushed on. He could have got more, could have gone into the 100 club, but at the end of the day, I've gone into the top 200k. I've got a free hit to use next game week, so why not? Let's just go for it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, mate, like 4 points more than what I got for my 2-second cameo of well, it wasn't a cameo, his injury with Mane, my triple captainship. So you know what, like you can look at it 2 ways. Yes, Ings definitely could have had a lot more points, but at the same time, like at least it wasn't that, as you said, like it could have been a lot worse as well. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, he actually got some points more than just than just playing or whatnot. So yeah. No, that's good. I actually had a decent game week as well. I mean, God, what is this? I had 76 points and a small green arrow, so I had the same as you, Kurt. That was mainly due to my defence, like you guys. I did a -4 and got Peters in, which worked out handsomely.
I did.
Peters and Doherty got with 12 points apiece, and then Trent completed the trio with 13 points. So all 3 of my defenders delivering. A very rare occurrence for me. Henderson, Bruno, and Vardy were the only players not to return in my team, whilst same as you guys, really, Greenwood, Ings, Salah, KDB, and Martial all brought in a little something for me. Rather frustratingly, I did sell Pulisic for Martial this week, so that was a bit annoying because initially it looked like a great
basically
swap.
Nailed that choice because he was benched. Like
yeah, exactly.
That's the perfect scenario, really, away to Liverpool as well. So
yeah, but the only positive thing I can think of it is that I would have captained Bruno had I not have made that move, and with Bruno only getting 1 point, I think actually it didn't end up as bad as what it might have been. Also, I had a pretty tasty bench this week, which is frustrating. I had Target and Rayner, and like yourself, Brett, I had Foden on the bench. So it's slightly frustrating, some missed points there, but I'm definitely not complaining. But I definitely face some difficult decisions now on my free hit coming out. That's for sure. Is way a lot of our questions tonight are free hit related. So we'll get moving on to those. Do get those questions in the chat, guys, and then Brett will collect them up for our quick fire at the end. Okay, so the first one is from our Pristavu. Hey Wildcats, which teams still have something to fight for, and there is a low, and which ones will have the low risk of rotation? Name 2 players from each that you would bring in. So nice, easy one to get started off there with. Kurt, do you want to start us off, buddy?
In terms of players that you'd bank on getting returns and you bringing in and starting.
So from the teams that have something to fight for, yeah.
I wouldn't even look at the teams that's something to fight for. Just look. Personally, one of the things I've done is I've doubled up on Burnley defenders. I've got Peters and Bardsley because Burnley versus Brighton. Burnley, are they going to get relegated? Can they get relegated? No, they're 9th. Can they go higher? Yeah, 1 higher. Can they go lower? Yeah, 1 lower. That's it. Nothing to play for there. Brighton are safe. Mathematically, they're safe, so it's only 17th, 18th and 19th. They need to worry about relegation. That's got 0-0 written all over it for me. And if anything, Brighton will get a goal. And with Eric Peters as well last week, getting a clean sheet, picking up an assist, picking up 3 bonus points, I think you've got to stick with him. In terms of teams who've got something to fight for, potentially look at Villa. West Ham could potentially now go to sleep, give a chance to a few of their younger players who have, and Villa face West Ham at home. Maybe that's a good choice. Apart from that, I mean, I would say Man United, but the way they turned up against West Ham last week, or last game week, you don't know what United are going to turn up. But it'd be Man United or Aston Villa for me, if not Burnley defenders. Bankable at least.
Yeah, so we have Champions League, we have United, Chelsea and Leicester fighting, right?
Yeah.
And then Europa, we have Spurs and Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And then in relegation, we have Bournemouth, Watford, Villa. Yeah?
Yes.
So if I'm picking 2 players from each of those for RP, I'm thinking in the Champions League bit, maybe Pulisic, Martial out of the United, Chelsea, Leicester. Vardy, is he going to be differential this week? Not sure what to think there. Europa, I'm going to go Lucas Moura and stick my neck out on that one. And Jimenez, although baby has been born now. So I don't know what that means for Jimenez, whether he's off now for the rest of the season or whether he will get played and do the whole baby celebration thing. And then relegation, I'm gonna say Brett's favourite person, Wilson and Grealish. They'd probably be the 2 from each section.
I do have Wilson in my team. I completely forgot about him because he's on the bench at the moment.
Wow.
What, Callum Wilson is in your team?
He's not starting. He's my 3rd bench player. I haven't changed any of the starting lineup, but at the moment he's in the team. Yeah, because I'm banking on there being.
When did you get him?
Oh, it's only for the free hit.
Oh, okay.
He's only he's not been in there for anything longer. Don't worry. Don't worry.
That makes sense.
£7 million for someone that's done naff all since the return. I'd be fuming with myself if I kept him for more than a week. But no, he's there just because maybe some early team news thinking, I've got to panic, and if I don't got much time or much, depending on when, where I am, and so I might be out playing cricket, might be out doing football, might be out, not able to get to my Wi-Fi. Quick swap. Wilson plays for, let's say, I don't know, Sterling said, all right, good luck to the boys. I'm not playing today. Switch Callum Wilson in. He's a decent choice.
Actually, just so you know this, Sterling is in France right now.
Why?
He is on holiday.
What, like on Instagram? Have you seen this?
It's been widely reported. It's not on Instagram, but I think Man City have given the players a break for a few days. So they're not in the country right now.
That's mad.
Yeah, so, well, I don't know if all of them, obviously, but I know that Sterling is away because there's articles of him bumping into Piers Morgan in Saint-Tropez, I think. And basically Piers Morgan ribbing him over the whole FA Cup thing.
Okay.
But they've got
Doesn't sound like
Jay
Piers
on
Morgan.
Thursday. They had yesterday and today off. So that should mean, I'm guessing, that they'll be back on the weekend. But so you say that with Sterling not being there, Kurt, there's a potential.
Maybe,
Might just
maybe.
decide to stay on his
He's
holidays.
like my potential transfer in this week, so that's news to me. Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I know. It came as a shock to me. I found out literally before we were coming on the stream. So when I saw the headline Sterling out of the country, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I better read that quickly before I go on air. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So cool. Were there any others you wanted to add to some of those, Brett? Or shall I move on? Moving on up.
I think you covered most. I mean, yeah, from the surviving teams, I mean, there's not really many there. I mean, I don't mind the Everton fixture for Bournemouth. You know, I just think Everton look a bit poor at the moment. Nothing to play for, and Bournemouth are going to have to try and win that game no matter what. So Wilson does have a decent record against Everton, so he could be a nice differential, but it's such a punt because we've got no form to go off, really. It would be out of nothing, you know. I can't make a move for Harry Kane this week, really. It's unlikely, but you know, once Harry Kane hits a few goals, you
Harry
always,
Kane into my team.
yeah, you always get drawn. I always get pulled in by Kane when I see a big performance from him. I'm like, oh my God, Kane's back, you know.
Yeah.
He's such a legend, like FPL wise, and yeah, he could bang like a hat trick in on the last day. You know, Palace. Sorry, Meg, but Palace do look a bit poor at the moment. You know, they're really off the pace the last couple of game weeks. They've got nothing to play for. So yeah, Son or Kane could be nice in that fixture, but you know, I'm not going to get them myself because I'm more focused on Man City at home to Norwich. So yeah, I do quite like the idea of Kane this week.
A random junkie doing us all out of a job with 94 points without any chips this week.
Oh,
well done,
nice.
buddy. Well
Captain
done.
Sterling, probably.
Okay, then. Next question. Optimus Prime says, I have a good question. Watford, Aston Villa and Bournemouth will fight to survive in the Premier League. If I ask you to bring in one player for those teams for game week 38, who's it going to be?
What, from Watford, Bournemouth and...
Aston Villa.
Oh, sod off Watford, they're useless. Bournemouth would be Wilson, then Villa would be Grealish.
Yeah. I think
Surely.
Grealish would be my shout as well.
There's not really much to go on. It's not as if there's any been stand-up performers. I think Bournemouth have been absolutely shocking this season. They deserve to go down, but because sort of they're everyone's sort of second favourite team, you know, everyone's getting behind them. But look at the way they've played. They've been leaky. They've been just dross. Watford's... Again, there's no stand-up performers from Watford again. And then Villa, it would be Grealish for me.
Dropped off form, didn't he?
There's just not, you know, like we say, they're all fighting for survival. So, and on the last day of the season, there's always like big outlying scores that can happen, but it's just hard to predict which from those teams. You know, I mean,
Harry Wilson, and then he's not getting enough game time. Stanislas, maybe?
Because of the way we played against Villa, Arsenal, like Watford could get a result against us, you know. They've got more to play for than we have. We'll have one eye on the FA Cup final.
It's going to be that whole Connors thing again, isn't it?
Yeah, so Troy Deeney, like, I had high hopes for him last season actually playing Arsenal, then he got red carded. So with Deeney, it's either going to be like a brace.
Again, please.
It's either a brace or a red card, probably for Deeney.
Yeah.
I don't mind that pick. They're all complete punts because no players from any of these teams have any real form. You know, maybe the last 2 game weeks, I think Trezeguet's done all right randomly for Villa.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it's quite a random pick. So there's no real inspiring options. They're all punts because none of them are going into these games with any form. You're just kind of hoping that they show up fight and, you know, maybe Grealish can be the main man and, you know, a bit of a hero story or Deeney.
Well, Villa unbeaten in the last 3. Win, draw, win.
They've
pulled them out of the gutter.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been a bit hard to beat recently. So I'm hoping they can do a job against Antonio because I'm sick of him scoring every week.
Oh, he's in my team. Free hit, he's got to come in.
Yeah, that's fair.
If West Ham were still fighting for survival, Man United had actually forced them to get points at the end of the day, he would have been my captain easily. But just because there's nothing to fight for them, I'm just a bit cautious about it.
Yeah.
Hey Ezo, welcome to the chat, buddy. Don't forget to get those questions in, guys, for the quick fire at the end of the stream.
And like,
Oh yes,
and
like and
like.
subscribe, always, always.
Ram it down your throats.
Oh, welcome Jay. Jay's in the chat. Woo woo. Wildcats back together. Cool. Okay. Ray says, "Hey guys, I am 8 ahead in my mini league and I have 1 transfer. Should I take a -4 hit to get Sterling in, as he seems to be the best hold captain, or should I sort my bench out? My bench boost is active and his current team is McCarthy, Button, Holgate, Aurier, Trent, Bolly, Bardsley, Foden, KDB, Salah, Bruno, Martial, Greenwood, Ings, and Jesus. So what we saying, lads, on that one? Should he take a -4 to get Sterling, or should he sort his bench out for his bench boost?"
Who's on his bench again?
Well, he hasn't said exactly, but I'm assuming it's going to be Button, Holgate, Bolly, and Bardsley, probably.
Well, Holgate's at home to Bournemouth, so on paper it's
Or-
okay.
Yeah, unless he's getting maybe Foden or Greenwood, that might be the other person.
Bardsley at home to Brighton's decent. I mean, if you're bench boosting, it's a bit annoying to have Button on your bench, you know.
Yeah. Is Holgate playing at the minute? I'm not sure.
That's a good question.
Don't
That's a
think
good
he
question.
is.
I'm not sure on that.
I'll quickly check.
Oh, he's injured.
Yeah, thought so.
I mean, you've got Button and Holgate on your bench boosting, you know, that is a problem.
Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? I think it's not fab for a bench boost, but it depends on your mini league, I guess. If your mini league rivals already have Sterling and you're 8 ahead, then it's difficult not to think about getting him to cover them, I guess. Though it is taking a hit for that move.
Did he say in the question that he's just trying to, is he like ahead of his mini league or something? And
Yeah,
just
he's
trying to-
8 ahead in his mini
8
league. 8
points
points
ahead.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So I guess it will be interesting to see like his rivals. If he goes on the desktop and goes on to his league and clicks his rivals and see if they've got any chips left. Because if they haven't and you've got the bench boost, even though you've only got 2 players playing on your bench boost, that's still extra players that your rivals won't.
Yeah.
Giving you less incentive to take hits to get players for Button and Holgate, because you know your team, your rivals aren't going to be bench boosting and that kind of thing. So that would come into my decision making if they've got the bench boost or not, or any other chips, because otherwise you could be in trouble there. If they haven't, then you haven't got to focus so much on your bench because you've got 2 extra players anyway, if that makes sense. And yeah, I can get the appeal for Sterling. You know, I'm considering to bring him in for a minus. I can't get him for free unless I sold Salah, which I'm not going to do.
So who are you getting rid of, Brett, to bring in Sterling? Because you have to lose somebody from midfield, right?
It's going to have to be a good player. It'll have to be Fernandez or Martial, basically. Haven't decided on which one yet, but I'm just going up, just hoping, because it's away to Leicester and because they look quite tired. Maybe Martial, I don't know. It's one of the two. I keep jumping between the two, but yeah, either one can backfire, of course. But I'm going to wait on team news, of course. I'm going to hope on Twitter that some early team news might come out before the deadline, right at the final minute, and then I can see who's starting. And obviously, if Sterling starts, then in he'll come most likely, and I'll captain him too. So yeah, if your rivals have got him, then yeah, just cover him maybe, and then bench boost with 2. If they haven't got any chips left.
Kurt, would you do anything differently, buddy?
Just make sure people, you know, you've got solid people that are playing and counted upon, and yeah, like Brett said, just make sure you are on Twitter.
Would you take the hit for -4 on Sterling though? If you knew he was starting?
If you knew he was starting,
would you
yes.
solidify your bench?
That's the thing. If you think your bench is weak, you've got a problem. If you take a risk, even if you think, Sterling's surely got to start, Sterling could get 2 points. Your bench, if you've not got a solid bench that maybe some of them aren't even going to play, you got to focus on solidifying a bench first. Personally, that's my opinion on it.
He knows Button isn't going to play. Well, he doesn't know for definite, but it's unlikely Button's going to play. And if Holgate's injured, then that's 2 players there.
There you go. Then you've got to move some players around the bench. Otherwise, you're playing a bench boost, and you could have 11 players playing. You've wasted your chip. One game. If it was in midway through the season, maybe, but there's 1 game left. Is it worth bringing Sterling in for 1 game when you've potentially wasted your bench boost? How much is Sterling worth? How much do you think Sterling's going to score in that game when you potentially could have 8 points of 2, 8 lots of 2, or 4 lots of 2, culminating in 8 points on your bench? Can he validate that as well as the player you're transferring out for Sterling?
It's a difficult one because you can see both sides of the coin on that one for sure. Wouldn't like to be in that boat. Yeah, I hate. I've always done better in the mini leagues being the person chasing as opposed to the person being in front. Like, I don't like that whole buying a player to block other players and stuff like that. I mean, I can do it. I've done it. I've defended. I've managed to do it a couple of times, but much prefer to be chasing the pack down for sure. Okay, FPL JRF would like to know Rashford and Ings instead of Aubameyang and Jesus. He says Alba doesn't get hauls this season. And the prospect seems slimmer against a do-or-die Watford. Sheffield United might well be on the beach, and Leicester aren't going anywhere with that back line.
So
what do we think?
What are the 2 pairs again?
Rashford and Ings instead of Aubameyang and Jesus.
And are we talking like on a free hit, or is he like transferring them to these players?
Doesn't say, buddy. Doesn't say.
Well, it sounds
either
like
way, I guess if he's making 2 transfers, they could be anybody. If that makes sense, like even if it's not a free hit.
I mean, he already kind of explained to himself which way he's going to go. So he basically said he's not fancying Aubameyang and that he doesn't think Leicester are very good. So Rashford should be a good pick. So
yeah. I mean,
I like both. I mean, if Jesus is starting against Norwich,
yeah,
then I do like that combo, Aubameyang and Jesus. But Jesus has played a lot of 90 minutes recently. There's no guarantee he starts Norwich. So, again, I would wait on early team news. And if Jesus was starting that Norwich game, I'd probably back him and Aubameyang at home to Watford. 2 nice fixtures.
Let's have a look. I mean, I'm not sure about that Hall. Let me see.
But, Ings is Mr. Consistent, and Rashford, could score away to Leicester.
To Aubameyang, he has scored a brace in... I have to put this right. I mean, we can't be saying he doesn't get hauls this season. I mean, he's had...
It's kind of how he kind of hauls and then blanks for 3 weeks. That's what he does.
Well, I don't know. To start the season, it was a goal, an assist, a goal, 2 goals, a goal, a goal. So he's pretty consistent at the beginning of the season. But he's had 1, 2, 3, 4 braces this season. So I'm not really sure you can say he doesn't haul. Yeah.
Yeah, Watford are, not exactly strong defensively. So I do like Aubameyang this week.
In fact, one of those braces was against Watford away.
Interesting.
But obviously they were playing a different system than Arsenal. Aubameyang was playing more central, I believe, and we didn't have the Nketiah thing then, did we? So
the whole golden boot thing for Aubameyang as well it's got to be in his thoughts. He's not far off, like maybe 3 or 4 goals. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
So look, both combos are good. Ings is consistent, and Rashford on his day can do well as well, but. It's annoying because away to Leicester, normally I would think that's an easy game not to own United players. I think, Leicester away. For most of the season, that was quite on paper a bad fixture. Be like, Leicester away, they're not going to get much there. But all of a sudden, Leicester are like so bad at the moment, and
I know.
That's what makes me worry about selling United
I've got Vardy in my team
players.
at the moment. I'm like, I don't know what to do with him on my free hit. Like
yeah,
any
on free
other
hit, that's tricky.
time, with him being like, the leader in the Golden Boot, and then, needing to defend that lead with other people gaining on him, you'd think, no way I'm getting rid of him, because he's going to be like a bull to a red rag, to score them goals to make sure nobody else gets it in that game. But it's just, is he going to be provided enough in order to get them? That's going to
Yeah.
be the problem.
I would think it would be quite a cagey game, but the way that Leicester have been defending recently, they have been shipping loads of goals. But because it's such a big 6-pointer, like a final to get to like the top 4, neither team can afford to lose that game. So you'd
Yeah.
think it would start off quite cagey. I'm hoping there's not going to be many goals in it if I do sell Martial or Fernandes. That's what it's just a prediction. It could go the other way. It could be a goal fest, the way Leicester have been defending. So it's a tough one. It is a tough one. Both combos are good, but I think if we were gifted early team news, then I would back Jesus and Aubameyang if Jesus was starting. It's
What about you,
Norwich,
Kurt? You have a preference out of those two?
Well, I've got Ings and Rashford at the moment, so I haven't thought about getting rid of them. I've got a free hit I can do. I haven't really considered either of them. I think Arsenal's fixture is good, and I think they could potentially run rampant on Watford. I do think City's fixture is good, albeit I've just seen Pick is broadcasting the game, so no idea what Pick is. But I haven't really given it much thought. Sorry, I just got distracted. Haven't really given it much thought. Ings and Rashford have been pretty good to me, albeit Ings last week did hurt me quite bad. But yeah, no, I haven't really given it much thought. So it's a potential. I could see myself doing the transfer, but at the moment I've got Ings and Rashford. So that's where I stand.
Cool. Okay. Evening Integrity. Welcome to the chat, buddy. Okay. Zion, I think, is asking what we think of his free hit team. So he's given us what the free hit team is. So I guess he just wants a green light or a red light on this. So you guys, he's got Trent Robertson. So he's doubled up on Liverpool defence there. Peters, David Silva, Sterling, Antonio, Bruno, Lucas Moura, Aubameyang, and Kane. And then on his bench, he's got Bardsley, Green, Williams, and Button. What do we think on his free hit?
Sounds all right.
Double Liverpool defence. What do we think on that one?
What players has he got? Trent and
Robertson, yeah.
I like it personally, but I know they haven't defended well recently. The big party, will they be a little bit sort of partied out? There's lots of arguments against it. And Alisson is out of the race for the Golden Glove, which does make a bit of a difference. There's not as much incentive to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
But I just have such fond memories of Andy Robertson on the final game week, like 2 seasons ago, getting like an 18-pointer or something.
I have the same with Martial. He won me my mini league a couple of seasons ago. I feel that kind of, like when there's that one player that does really well for you in the final game week.
And Robertson, the last few game weeks, has been like on fire. Like some of the assists he's had recently, he's started to assist a lot more goals in the last couple of games.
He's almost looked better than Trent, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's back to his best for sure, attacking wise. So I like them both because they can both deliver attacking returns. And like I say every stream, I always like a Newcastle fixture for a clean sheet. That's no disrespect to them, but on paper, I always look at it and think, "Oh, Newcastle, Joe Linton up front. They don't really score many goals." But they scored against Liverpool early in the season when I had double defense, so it can happen.
Yeah,
I don't mind that.
I think
the only team you're going to go to is Burnley, probably. So if he's happy with the rest of his team, then Robbo and Trent are still good.
I mean, to be fair, the rest of his team looks pretty. I mean, David Silva, Sterling, Antonio, Bruno, Lucas Moura. So he's going like double Liverpool defence as opposed to like a Mane Salah by the looks of things, so that he can have Aubameyang and Kane. And that's probably how.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that front too. To be fair, for this week.
I don't know. usually so like supportive of Aubameyang, but I'm struggling this week. I don't know why. I'm not feeling it. Interesting. Gut call there. Kurt, anybody you'd add or take away from that? What do you think on the old double Liverpool defence?
They're bold choices, but it's last game of the week, or last game of the season, sorry. So if you're going to take risks,
Last game of the week, what?
if you're going to take risks, I think now's
There's not more, are there?
if you're going to take risks, now's the time. So just go with your gut.
So has he got triple City in that team or just 2?
Just the 2, just Silver and Sterling.
I mean, at home to Norwich, come on, that is a banker clean sheet. Like, that is an absolute banker.
Yeah,
surely.
I think if you know,
If you know who's starting.
Yeah,
so
if you know
again,
who's
wait. I know I keep
starting.
saying this, but if we get early team news, like, or Ederson in goal, maybe, you know. I guess he's got.
Yeah, it doesn't
Pope,
say. No, it doesn't say who his goalkeeper is actually. So maybe.
But if you didn't want to double up on Liverpool defense, then I would go like Laporte or.
Yeah.
You know, and hope that he plays. I think he might have got subbed early in
the
last game.
Yeah, he did get subbed early in the last game.
And,
yeah.
you know, he wants to get his team sort of fresh now. They haven't got to worry about the FA Cup final because they're out of that. But they don't play for like 2 weeks until the Champions League. So he's going to want to put out a team that help them with their fitness, you know. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Laporte start again. Obviously, it's a gamble because you don't know they're going to start. So if there's early team news, maybe go for a Man City defender because that is just a nailed on 6 points, surely, minimum, you know.
Yeah.
But I like Trent and Robbo.
Cool. Okay. I'm not sure. I think there's probably more value. Well, like when I say more value, I think that's a lot of money on 2 defenders.
Yeah.
But I quite like the rest of your setup. I can see that your cash is like, you know, away from Salah and Mane, which frees up a lot of money for elsewhere. So I can see why you've gone there.
You could go to a Peters, like 4.3 or something.
He's
Burnley.
got Peters. Yeah, he's got Peters in already. So Trent
like
Robson, Peters.
Maybe a Bardsley, then double up on the Burnley defence and then upgrade Lucas Moura to Son or something. I know you quite like the Moura pick, Nim.
Yeah, I do.
For me, I would go to a more trustworthy Son with that.
Yeah, money. I think it's more that I don't know. I really on my Dream Team stream last week, I said Moura, and his minutes had been terrible until that point. But I just had a bit of a gut feel to go there, and he played 76 minutes and got 2 assists in that match. So hopefully, I would imagine that says to Mourinho, you know, that he might be worth a start in the final match. But yeah, you never know. Cool. Okay. V Ruben would like to know Salah or Kane captain. Ooh. Go on then, Kurt. Salah or Kane captain?
Kane.
Anything to add to that? Just straight.
What have Liverpool got to play for? What have Spurs got to play for? Spurs are potentially looking at getting a higher qualification ranking in Europe by getting ahead of Wolves. So, and Kane looks in form. Could be his last game for Spurs. So, that and Palace are absolutely woeful.
Did you say Kane's last game for Spurs?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, it could well be. What's he going to stick around at Spurs for? He's a world-class striker. Eventually, he's got to say, you know what? I'm wasting my time here. I've got how many, cup medals? And he'll look at it and think, God, if I was at Real Madrid, I'd win sort of 75% of the competitions in that country every year. Let's be honest. Would anyone be surprised if Kane up and left like Bale did?
I don't think anybody's surprised.
Spurs were lucky to keep Bale as long as they did, and Bale eventually left. Kane's got to go the same way, and he's still got a few years of his prime left before he starts maybe in a phase of deteriorating down. So
it's just I haven't really seen anybody in for him. That'd be where my surprise had come from. Like if we'd heard some rumours, then
I'd
golf
enough to be going to Madrid.
I was going to say, we haven't had any sound effects yet. I'm surprised it's taken that long, especially with your new sound effect jiggy thing that you got. Cool. Adita says, oh, sorry, I didn't say one, did I? Kane. And Brett, Salah or Kane?
I have no idea on that. Yeah, I guess
It
Kane.
is
I guess
tough.
Kane.
Like, I think if Liverpool hadn't dipped after their last celebration, we'd be a little bit more confident to say Salah. Salah is chasing that golden boot though, so I don't know. That is
I know,
tough.
but I hope Salah hauls because I've got him, and of course I've considered captaining him too.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's his returns bar it's so annoying because in the last like 6 game weeks he's had 2, 6, 18, 2, 2, 5, and the only game I didn't have him for was the 18 points because I sold him for that 1 week. So I brought him back on the basis of this golden boot thing, and he's hungry for goals. He wants to end the season strongly. Haven't seen any of that. He was pretty hopeless against Arsenal. Wasn't great against Chelsea. 5 goals for Liverpool. He didn't even score once. It's sort of like, oh. So he could haul again against Newcastle, but it's almost like with Salah, you start to lose a bit of faith, and and then that's when he bangs. So he's going to want to score on that final day. And Salah is always a great captain. Like, I love captaining Salah because you always feel a bit safe, and it always feels sensible. Even if he blanks, you're always like, it's just Salah, isn't it? So safer option, go Salah. But just with the way Palace are looking at the moment, and with the form Kane showed in the last game, he's a good rank riser, I think, if it goes well.
Yeah.
Coin flip, both good.
Okay, Adita says, in my opinion, Jesus will be benched. Ooh, that's Adita, not myself. Thinking of Sterling in for Salah, Kane in for Jesus, and David Silva in for Bruno. I have 2 free transfers. Any input, please?
I'll take back what I said last question about end of the season, now's time to take risks. That sounds stupid. Or extremely risky. Sorry, I'll put it as a PC way of saying it.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's all about what you want from the season at this point, I think. If, like, I kind of said this in last week's stream, if you really are not happy with your OR and your place in your mini league and you need to take a risk, then I still think that's, but like, on the verge of possibly being a bit too risky. I don't think you need to make all of those transfers. But I understand the risk taking if you're like, it's like myself and Brett were saying last night. Brett was saying about his OR being quite low, and I was saying, about my OR being quite low. To be honest, nobody's going to look back on mine and Brett's season and go, well, you're better because you got 400 and you're better because you got 1 million. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter. Unless you're 100k plus, most people are not even going to pay attention to your rank. Like, I didn't even know rank was a thing. I said that to you guys last week until I joined 3 years ago. Just where it was all about my mini league. So for me, like, at this point, 400 something, I'm a bit like, right, I'm doing my free hit. I may as well just, it's like, what's the difference going to be at this point? Like, I'm not going to make 100k. I'm too far away from that. And there's going to be no difference in 400k to say 700k. I mean, they're both just, it's by and by. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make me a bad manager to be that, and it doesn't make me a great manager to be that. It's just, at this point, you just got to say it's a game, have a bit of a laugh with it. So I think if they're your gut picks, then I would say go, like, you could go for it possibly. But I do think they are big calls. I mean, selling Salah, Jesus and Bruno, especially if you do know that Jesus is starting, it's really whether or not at this point you wanna just kind of go for it. And you really fancy Kane and you really fancy David Silva and you really fancy Sterling and you just wanna, why not? Do you know what I mean? Then fair enough. But even then, you're going to have to take what, a -4 for that if he's only got 2 free transfers. So yeah, I can see. I'm kind of a bit with Kurt there. I think there's taking risks, and then there's possibly
Being stupid.
a bit too far. But then again, like, you know, if you're gonna, you're really low anyway, and you just want a bit of fun. Yeah. Anything to add to that, Brett?
Yeah, it's I like the players in, of course, you know, all good options. But yeah, it's the players going out are equally as good, you know, especially Salah can always punish you. I felt that when I sold him for the 18-pointer. That can always happen, and he's so highly owned, of course, that has an even bigger impact, you know, especially with a lot of inactive managers captaining him always. So yeah, I think you guys covered it really. If you're happy to take that risk, knowing full well that it could backfire, then fair enough. I mean, an interesting thing I noticed about Fernandes today, because I've obviously debated selling Fernandes this week too to bring in Sterling. Because if I'm going to get Sterling and I want to keep Salah too, I'm not going to make the switch because of what happened to me the other week with Brighton away and Salah. So if I'm going to get Sterling, it's going to be one of my United midfielders, maybe Fernandes. But interesting with Fernandes, since he became part of the FPL game and signed for United, he hasn't blanked once in any away game yet. Not one single blank away from home.
Wasn't that the same for his home games though until the last game?
No, he's blanked in a few home ones.
Has he? Oh,
yeah. Let me double check.
I just didn't think he'd blanked since the restart.
So he blanked at home to Wolves when he first signed.
Oh, okay.
Then he blanked at home to Sheffield United after the restart.
Oh, okay.
He blanked at home to West Ham just now. So there's a couple of home blanks there and not one single blank away from home. Whereas Martial is smashing it
Doesn't
at home.
like Manchester.
So I was going to sell Fernandes and keep Martial. You know, he's out of position, that kind of thing up front. And Fernandes, granted, does look tired. But looking at the away form, you know, Martial has... well... he's doing the
talking himself back into it now.
Well, he's got a blank away to Spurs, a blank away to Brighton, 6 points away to Villa. And then he did score once away to Palace. So there's just not many big scores there. All of Martial's big scores, double digits, come at home. So I'm weighing it up, you know, but Fernandes isn't blanking away. And I'm like, should I really sell someone that isn't blanking away from home at all? Just so consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't sell Salah for Sterling. I would probably try and get Sterling in for one of the United players.
Okay, ready? Shall we do our quick fire? And we have to get Kurt to make us a sound effect for that, I think. And before we go to Jeff's corner, so you good to quick fire us?
Yeah, sure. I'll set a timer now. There's not loads of questions, so we'll get through them pretty quick. Yeah, Matt,
I'm sure as soon as you start doing it, we'll get a few more in.
Matt in the chat says, and I agree, yeah, Bruno looked gassed, mentally off it in the last game, and there isn't much time to turn over until the next game. That is true. Like, that's one reason in the list of reasons to sell this week that I might sell him, you know, because he did look knackered.
All drive off of Bruno, don't they? And United have been a better team with when Bruno's on it. So that's what I was saying earlier in my earlier stream. So that is going to be the key to whether United do well or not, really. Yeah. Whether Bruno's on it. And then you've got to think, well, if Bruno isn't on it, can I trust that Greenwood and Martial are going to be on it?
So true.
And then you're like, but if I want them in, then, you know, then you're hoping on Bruno to do well. And if he does well, that's the ouch, you know.
It is very true, because Martial was never on my... I mean, I did have him for a short spell earlier this season, but it's only since game week 25 when Fernandes signed that Martial has become like a beast, you know, like he was never really... I was never worried about him. And then
Yeah.
since Fernandez came in, like Martial's just been a different class now, So you're right. If he's not on form, then the rest of the team suffers for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then when he is on form, it's like, well, if he's on form, then he's likely to get something. So it's so difficult, that one.
The team is just being
is.
run to the ground,
That's why I'm struggling on my free hit. I'm like, what to do with them United players? So difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult. I don't think Ollie trusts any other players in his squad, really. He's run that 11 to the ground because it's like, well, I can't really bring James on for Greenwood. I can't bring on Pereira for Fernandez. Like, these players can't really have an impact. I don't think he trusts them. And he hasn't really managed their minutes as well. I think when they were winning games, maybe Ollie should have been taken them off a bit earlier. Yeah, because he used to run them to the ground. They look knackered now.
The only positive I can think is that they've got a few days now. They will have had a few days now until Sunday, as opposed to it just being like, 1 or 2 days. So you'll have a couple like an extra day or so. And there will be that impetus, obviously, to try and get the top 4. And the fact that they can go out there, there's a lot of like psychological, I think, when you go out there and you're thinking, this is the last game. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we're literally like, this is the last game of the season. I know they will have, others after, but I mean of the Premier League. So they can go out there and kind of just give their all a little bit for that one. And that's the only thing that makes me think that you find that extra bit, don't you? When like, you're coming to the end. It's like your final week of exams, or do you know what I mean? Like, you just think it's nearly over, I can push, almost like us with FPL, I guess. We know it's coming to an end now, push on, so I think we might see something a bit more like the United we've seen, but I can't say that for definite, just because they, like Arsenal, like now, they've pushed so hard in the last week or week and a bit or so, that they do look a bit like they're cream crackered now. So it's going to be interesting to see which one of those teams have that psychological edge to go out there and go, you know what, it's one more, let's push for it. Let's do what we can here.
Definitely. All right. So we'll do the quick fire, then I'll start the timer.
Okay, buddy.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we'll have 1 minute then. So Razvan says, free hit must players. Who is a must on a free hit? Nim?
Pulisic, Antonio, Kane, Trent, Salah and Sterling.
Kurt, free hit musts.
Burnley defenders, City attackers, and basically Harry Kane against Spurs. Against Palace, sorry.
Yeah, nice. Me the same, really. I mean, if we get early team news, great. City at home to Norwich is the one we all want to target. So I'd say Sterling. De Bruyne, if he starts, David Silva. And then if you can afford them, like Kane. Burnley defence, Peters and maybe Tarkowski, Pope. And maybe Aubameyang too up front if you can afford him. Cool. Right, next one. Richard S. He's still contemplating Sterling and Ings or Mahrez and Kane. Sterling, Ings, Mahrez or Kane.
Oh, that's horrible. Kurt, you go first.
Sterling, Ings, Mahrez or Kane?
So Sterling plus Ings as a pair or Mahrez and Kane as a pair?
Oh, Mahrez and Kane just for Kane. He's going to whoop Palace. Palace are going to concede about 17 goals. They're pants.
I think the second one for security, but if I knew Sterling was starting, Ings chasing the golden boot, I'd probably be more tempted with the first one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Nim. Both great options. Again, Mahrez should start this Norwich fixture because he was benched last week. But yeah, Sterling and Ings, providing Sterling starts, I'd go for that one. For sure. Right, there's a few questions from, I won't start. Yeah, from Ezo. First one is start 2 of Foden, Antonio, Jimenez. That's tough.
What was it? Foden, Jimenez.
Foden, Antonio, Jimenez. Start 2 of them.
That's. I don't know that Jimenez is starting because of the whole baby thing, but maybe Jimenez and Antonio.
Kurt?
Foden, Antonio.
Providing we get early team news and Foden starts, then I would start him for sure. And then I think I'm going to go Jimenez actually over Antonio. Chelsea just can't defend at the moment. And Wolves like a big game. Jimenez just had the baby. Maybe a bit of a baby celebration. I know that I hate that kind of reasoning. It's stupid, really. We did that with Vardy for weeks. But Jimenez, like, he's so consistent.
It was the complete opposite with that, wasn't it? He was knackered after hearing the baby.
The reason I say that is only because Villa have defended quite well recently, and they've got more to fight for than West Ham. So I'll say Jimenez over Antonio, providing Foden starts, of course.
I just, after he let me down playing him all those weeks and then him getting the goal this week on my bench, I'm not sure I'm ready to forgive him yet.
It's just Norwich, though, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah.
Surely a pasting on the cards there. Right, next one from Ezo is he just says thanks for the content. I'm 138k. Thanks to you guys in my first proper season, and I have triple captain, so hopefully you can get to the top 100k. So good luck, Eric, for that, mate. Thanks for your comment.
Good luck. Thanks, buddy.
Hope you
That's
nail the
really
captaincy,
sweet.
mate.
Oh, thank you.
Right, this is a question that, like, kind of I'm debating with myself. So Ezo or Eric says, who would you sell, Bruno or Martial, to fund either Salah or Sterling? So one of the United mids, which is the dilemma I'm having.
Still Martial.
Ooh. Yeah, I've got both, and I'm a bit like you, Brett. I'm a bit stuck on this one. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the question of the week, I think, for a lot of people, and it will be for those who don't have them and are thinking on free hit which one to get in, or whether to keep Bruno, switch to Martial, or vice versa. Oh, I don't know.
It's really hard, this one.
This one is extremely hard. I think
I'm having the same problem.
Depends on I mean, percentage wise, Bruno's going to be more highly owned. So if you want to protect rank, and if anything, like, if he does anything and you don't have him, it's going to hurt. There's no way of getting around that. So he's the more secure option out of the two. But if you fancy a bit of a risk and just in the hope that Bruno does continue to be too knackered, then Martial. But sorry, I can't really give a clear one on that one. It's very tough.
We've gone over time, and I mean, even I don't know on that one. I'm deciding myself that, mate. I'm not sure which one. The more I talk about it, the more I lean towards selling Martial, actually, only because his big hauls have come at home and he hasn't scored much away from home. Fernandes could get a penalty at Leicester. I know he switched with Rashford, but you'd fancy him to take the key penalty, I think. They trust Fernandes with that one. So he's got that in his locker, and he hasn't blanked away from home once. And when I look at that, and because you're chasing top 100k, like Nim said, maybe because you're only 30k away from it, taking a bigger gamble getting rid of Fernandes. So maybe because Martial's a bit less owned, especially around that area where you are, maybe Martial is a bit safer to sell. But look, it's a very tough call. It really is.
It is tough, that one.
Okay, the next one is from Nikhil, and he says Aubameyang or Kane for this week. He already has Son. So does he kind of double up away to Palace, or does he go for the home fixture?
Oh, I know what Kurt's going to say here. Although he does have Aubameyang, so I am actually interested to hear what you'll say, Kurt.
Could you repeat the question again, please?
Aubameyang
sleeping
or
on
Kane?
the job.
He's already got Son. Should he have Aubameyang or Kane for this week?
Okay, I just thought I'd double check. Yeah, Kane. Spurs are going to score about 25 goals against Palace this week.
Even with you having Aubameyang, you don't change that.
I don't have Aubameyang.
Oh, do you not anymore?
No, I haven't had Aubameyang for weeks.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Shows how much attention I pay.
I was going to say. He had a go at me.
Oh, I'd edge towards Kane, but that is a tough one. Brett?
Yeah, I'm going to say spread your bets and go Orbit only because you've got Son, but both great options.
Yeah, I think I'd be more inclined to, like you said, without already having Son, maybe to edge my bets.
Yeah. Again, just two amazing players with good fixtures. So, right, that was the end, but I think we had one more in the chat since. So it's from Mac.
Hey, Matt.
It's a 50-50. He wants to know Aurier or Bardsley. So Bardsley at home to Brighton, Aurier away to Palace.
So Aurier or Bardsley.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tough to know whether if he's got any other. If you've already got Burnley defenders, and maybe Aurier to spread the load a little bit, but I don't mind the double or the triple up this week.
Kurt?
I've got Aurier myself, so I'll be tempted
Calling
to Aurier.
Zaha to score this week, just to annoy Kurt.
Sounds good. Yeah, Aurier for me.
I'm going to say Bardsley. Spurs have improved recently. They're okay, but I just don't trust them defensively, especially away from home. I know it's Palace, but it's Burnley at home to Brighton, and with Nick Pope still in the race for the Golden Glove, they're going to be doing everything they can to keep a clean sheet there. That they will just defend for their lives for that Golden Glove for Pope, I think. So I'd go Bardsley.
Cool. Okie dokie. Shall I head on over to Jeffers Corner then?
Yes, I think that's all the questions.
Thank you, everybody.
Can we just do one more actually? Because basically, Random Junkie, he's commented, I think, on a few streams, and he wasn't sure how to get questions in. And he's just put one in now, so we'll do his as the last one because I didn't get to do any of his questions. So Random Junkie wants to know, it's another 50-50, Bruno or Antonio this week.
Ooh,
interesting one.
That is an interesting one. I'm assuming that's free hit, so I mean, if it wasn't for the last game week or so, then I'd be all over Bruno. There'd be no doubt in my head. But now I'm not too sure. My gut reaction was Antonio, but that seems mad. That seems absolutely bonkers. Bruno safety.
Kurt?
Antonio, take a risk.
I thought he was going to say that. It sounds
all depends
so rich
on where
if I say
you are.
Bruno, because I'm debating to sell Bruno, but between those two, I would still go Bruno over Antonio.
Well, you just said he's done pretty well away, so
he has. He's done well away, and I've just been quite impressed with how Villa have defended lately. That's all I'm basing that on. Antonio's in great form, but it's almost like really unbelievable. It's like hard to believe how good Antonio's been playing lately. It's sort of like, wow, I didn't know he had this kind of form.
Yeah,
I'm kind of like, that's got to end.
It makes me think
soon,
of Snodgrass of last season when he went through that like patch of being like incredibly good, and you were like, whoa.
Yeah, and that's not taking away anything from Antonio because his stats have been good too. His big chances are really up there as well. But I'm just going to say Bruno because, at the start of after lockdown, I said right, Bruno's like set and forget for me, and he's done well away from home, so. Very tough 50-50s though.
They're really tough. Palace annoying Kurt on the last day of the season wouldn't be the first time. That's what Meg said.
A lot of the chat saying Antonio, by the way.
I think if you want to take a risk, risk. It's not. When I say risk, I don't think having Antonio is necessarily a risk. It's whether or not having him over Bruno is the risk, because Bruno is going to be so highly owned. That's what I mean by that. Yeah. So I think if you want to do something a bit different, get, something, try and help your OR or do something different in mini league, then there's nothing wrong with that at all. So
cool.
Okay, so Jeffers Corner. And this is the final Jeffers Corner of the season. So make sure you go on over and follow at Austin66 UK on Twitter. He's great. He runs some cool FPL competitions, and he's been on here with us during the lockdown when we've done our quizzes. He's been our quiz master, and Jeffers is, a wildcat, and we're very grateful for everything you've done this season, Jeffers. So thank you very much, buddy. He's asking us tonight, what are the essential elements of a British seaside holiday, and which location would you pick? For Jeffers, he says it's fish cake and chips, fudge seahorses in Lynmouth, Devon. So, Kurt, what are your essential elements of a British seaside holiday for all our overseas fans?
You've got to have a hotel that's looking at the seaside. It's all well and good saying you've got a seaside holiday, but you could be having a hotel that's a 5-minute walk from the beach. Still
5
class.
minutes. How terrible.
But it makes a difference though. If you walk out and you're looking at Lorraine across the street who lives there, and she's got a 22 stone frame just out the window doing the laundry, or you can open the window out to a nice seaside view, the smell of the seaside, the wind coming through.
By the way.
There is something wrong with it compared to the seaside. There is. You'd want the seaside over any person any day. I don't want Zac Efron in a window next to me. I want the seaside. So you've got to have a seaside view. You've got to have a seaside view. You've got to have fish and chips. And another thing I'd add on is whenever I'd go down to Clacton or Southend, I'd always get fresh donuts. That's just any holiday. I find myself just doing that any time now.
So is that where your location would be, Southend or?
I mean, ideally you'd want somewhere else, but I don't know where would be nice. Southend, I'd probably go Clacton. Clacton's quite nice, considering.
It is hard to get away from fish and chips. I know that won't be Brett's choice, obviously, but I'm down free. So the treat that I love whenever I go away, and for me the location would be Tintagel in Cornwall. It's one of my favourite places on earth. I can't resist scones and clotted cream and a cup of tea. So whenever I go down there, love a bit of that. If just to say something different than fish and chips, obviously, because I think that is everybody, the known, isn't it, when you go to the seaside? But for something different, that's what I love. But Brett, what about you? I mean, do you miss fish and chips as a vegan? Not obviously, clearly not, that what comes with it, but I mean, just
of course you miss
life.
these burgers and chips and all that, but there's so many good alternatives. Like I still have fish and chips, but it's just tofu based, but they just the technology that they have now and the taste, it tastes almost identical. I can go to most pubs now and have a vegan fish and chips. It's just tofu, and it they put like some seaweed in there, and it tastes almost identical. Same with burgers. You can have a plant-based burger that tastes incredible these days with vegan cheese. So I miss all that stuff. But when I get fish and chips these days, or just chips, I go to the fish and chip shop and just buy just chips now. Because I love typical fish and chips.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the proper chips. Fried chips.
I still love those, so just get from a traditional chip shop, I'll just get those. In terms of a seaside holiday, this is quite a not a great question for me, because I'm not a huge fan of going to the beach in the UK. Like I love going abroad, for the sunshine and stuff, and just something about going abroad to a nice beach. But I haven't.
Have you been to Cornwall?
I have once, actually, and to be fair, the beach there was beautiful. And I think until you go there, you think. I naturally, I kind of like wherever you're born,
thinking of Barry, Barry Island, and then you think.
Exactly. I think no matter where you're born in the world, you always take for granted where the place you're born. So for me, I always think of UK as miserable and rainy, and I can't go to the beach here, blah blah blah. But when I did go to Cornwall, you were right that like the beach there was as if you were abroad, you know,
Yeah.
because I'd never seen it
Stunning.
before. So I'm not sure where I'd go in the UK. Like my essential would be like Kurt said, a sea view for sure, and hearing the ocean and seeing it. I just love being at the beach. It's like my
Me
favorite thing.
too.
My
Yeah.
favorite place to be is the beach. It's my happy
Agreed.
place
Yeah.
with the sunshine. The cleaner the water, the better. But that's the standard. Everyone loves that. You know, clear water, warm water. I'm not a fan of cold ocean. But if I had to pick a location, like I guess I would pick somewhere like Barry or something, only because it hasn't got all the stuff that I want, but I've got some nice family memories from going there as a kid.
Nostalgia. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got a lot there as a kid with the mini golf and the arcades, and more than just lying on the beach, you know. So it's good if you have kids to take there as well. And Oxwich Bay is another place that I used to like going to. It's about an hour and a half away, but it has huge sand dunes. Like massive like hills of sand, and when we were kids we would go there with like boogie boards that you would take on the water, but we'd just go down the sand dunes on them.
Oh no way.
Yeah, and we'd
cool.
build these massive like sand hills, like a jump, like a ski jump. And honestly, yeah, when we were like 11 we would do that, and it was just the most fun. So bit of a random story, that's not really part of the question, but
no, it's
yeah,
good.
essentials are
It's all good for Jeff's profile on us, buddy. It's all good. He's taken that down. So
and essential for me is just somewhere quiet. I hate like really busy, too much going on, you know. I'd rather
somewhere
a bit of space
I can
to
walk
myself,
the dogs for miles. That's what I want. Yeah, just
Brett does bring up a valid point, by the way. If I had a choice, I'd be going somewhere like Barbados for a couple of weeks, not going down to Devon or anything. Yeah. Let's be honest. You know. But if I was, I was forced to go, or funds are a bit low, you can't afford to go out on abroad for a couple of weeks, then you know the British seaside's all right. But the minute I get that extra bit of money, I'm thinking, can I afford to go abroad? I'm already on the plane. Already on the plane.
Meg just says, tickled me in the chat. Meg says the favourite thing about Brett's British seaside holiday is the outbound flight. It's so true, that is. Yeah, you can't beat a beach holiday, you know. Yeah.
Cool. Okay then, guys. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this season, for all the love you have given us during our streams. I know it's been very up and down. I hope we've kept you entertained during the lockdown with our gaming stuff, of which we're still doing. We've just moved it over to Twitch, so you can come and check us out there. We're just the Wildcats there in lowercase, but we've thoroughly enjoyed, you know, doing all of this for you guys, and I know it's kept me going throughout the whole of lockdown, having the Wildcats and, you know, the FPL Wildcats to do. It's made a massive difference to me. So thank you all so much. And a big thank you to Jay as well, even though he couldn't be here tonight. We've missed him the last couple of streams, that's for sure. And hopefully he'll be back with us at the start of the next season. And yeah, so thanks, guys, my lovely Wildcats. And I'll pass over to Kurt to wrap us up. But please don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave.
If I see people, look, when I'm looking at it, there's 31 people watching now 29, you're all escaping away, 17 likes. So, judging by that, there's 12 of you that are pathetic. Like the video. Get those likes in. It costs nothing. You're not going to press that like video and someone's going to break into your house, steal your wallet and say, that's for liking the video. Cheers, buddy. Unbelievable. Anyway, rather than me rambling and having a go at our lovely fans, probably the best season I've had. So I suppose I should give some sort of thanks to you, and then probably end it. Otherwise, we'll be here like the last stream when I was here for about, I think it was about 3 days rambling. Anyway, see you all next season, which will be probably 2 weeks from now, I'm assuming, with the tight turnaround. So yeah, hopefully FPL's better to all of us next season, but we can only dream. Anyway,